A just-released New York Times article reports on explosive details of a June Oval Office meeting about President Trump's aggressive immigration agenda. In the article, the president is accused of making several inflammatory statements about immigrants. The Times article, citing 6 officials who attended or were briefed on the meeting, details the president was visibly upset about immigrants flooding into the United States despite his campaign promise to fortify the nation's borders. Venting to his national security team, the president reportedly began reading from a document given to him by domestic policy advisor Stephen Miller that listed how many immigrants received U.S. visas in 2017. And according to one of the officials who attended the meeting, according to this New York Times reporting, the document read that and I'm quoting now from how it's written out of the New York Times, Haiti had sent 15,000 people. And the president is being quoted here as saying, they all have AIDS, he grumbled, according to one person who attended the meeting. And then in this meeting, apparently, it was also mentioned how many had come from Nigeria. And I'm quoting now how it's written from the New York Times. 40,000 had come from Nigeria, Mr. Trump added. Once they had seen the United States, they would never, quote, go back to their huts in Africa, recalled the 2 officials who asked for anonymity. Now, I want to bring in one of the reporters, Michael Shear, of the New York Times, who helped break this story. Michael, good to see you. All right, so this meeting, now already Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the spokesperson, you had reached out to, and according to the article, Sanders is saying this didn't happen. So how did this come about? Do you have sources who either heard of, were in attendance of this meeting, who are giving you these quotes of how the president reacted to these things?
We talked to several people who described this meeting, in which the president came into the Oval Office, had a lot of his national security team there, and was essentially complaining, this is about halfway through his year in June, complaining that the steps that they had taken so far hadn't done enough to secure the borders, to keep people out, that people were still flooding in his words, as too many people coming in, and that they posed potentially a threat and other problems. And it was in the course of the reporting of that meeting that we talked to people who described how the meeting went and what the president said, and that, as you described, that he read from a list of countries and how many people were had come into the United States from those countries. And that's when he made sort of derogatory comments, first about the Haitians, and then about the Nigerians and others. And so, we're confident. We stand by our sourcing. We're confident that that story is true. The White House did push back very aggressively late last night and early this morning, sending us a note that said that several of the cabinet secretaries who were in the meeting at the time say that it didn't happen. Not that the meeting didn't happen, but that the comments, the inflammatory comments weren't said.